Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Tuesday, May 6th, 2021. Today I'm going to go over yesterday's NHL, NBA, and MLB results and look ahead to today's games in each sport. I'm going to give out a pick for the Wells Fargo Championship. I'm going to go over the latest news and notes. We'll recap last night's episode of The Masked Singer and my best bet of the day. All right, we're going to start with the NHL today just to change things up because that season is coming to an end within the next week or so, as I will go over the games from yesterday night and go over today's games. Capitals over the Rangers 4-2, Washington 34-14-5, Rangers 26-22-6. The number 3 started game with 19 saves on 21 shots. Vitek Vanecek, number 2, started game with 3 assists. Dmitry Orlov, and the number 1 started game with a hat trick, TJ Oshie. Senators over the Canadiens 5-1, Ottawa 21-27-5, Montreal 24-19-9. The number 3 started game with 30 saves on 31 shots, Anton Forsberg. The number 2 started game with a goal and an assist, Nick Paul. And the number 1 started the game with 3 assists, Eric Brandstrom. Blue Jackets over the Predators 4-2. Columbus is 17-25-12. Nashville 29-23-2. The number 3 started game with 2 assists, Mikko Lehtonen. The number 2 started game with a goal, Mikhail Girigenko. And the number 1 started game with 2 goals and assists, Oliver Bjorkstrand. Lightning over the Stars 6-2. Lightning 36-14-3. Dallas 21-18-14. The number 3 started game with 20 saves on 22 shots, Andrei Vasilevsky. The number 2 started game with a goal and assist, Anthony Killorn. And the number 1 started game with a goal and an assist, Braden Point. Ducks over the Blues 3-2 in a shootout, Anaheim 17-30-7, St. Louis 24-19-8. The number 3 started game with a goal, Mike Hoffman. The number 2 started game with 33 saves on 35 shots, Jordan Binghamton. And the number 1 started game with no points, to just played great, David Backes, against his former team. Golden Knights over the Wild 3-2 in overtime on a game winner by Alex Pietrangelo. Vegas 37-13-2, Minnesota 33-14-5. The number 3 started game with 26 saves on 28 shots, Marc-Andre Fleury. The number 2 started game with 2 goals, Kirill Kaprizov. And the number 1 started the game with a goal, Alex Pietrangelo. Jets over the Flames 4-0. The Jets 28-21-3. Calgary 22-26-3. The number 3 started game with 32 saves on 32 shots, Connor Hellebuyck. Number 2 started game with 2 goals, Blake Wheeler. And the number 1 started game with 2 goals and an assist, Adam Lowry. The Jets clinch a playoff spot. Sharks over the Avalanche 3-2. The Sharks are 21-26-6. Colorado 34-13-4. The number 3 started game with 30 saves on 32 shots, Joseph Cornar. The number 2 started game with 3 assists, Evander Kane. And the number 1 started game with 2 goals and an assist, Thomas Hertl. Kings over the Coyotes 4-2. Finally, a Coyotes over. LA 21-24-6. Arizona 22-26-6. The number 3 started game with 2 assists, Connor Garland. Number 2 started game with 2 goals, Gabriel Velarde. And the number 1 started the game with an assist, Anze Kopitar, as the Arizona Coyotes have been eliminated from playoff contention. And the Blues. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on here. It says eliminated Arizona. It doesn't say Arizona's eliminated yet. And St. Louis, I guess, is clinched. So that would make sense. Alrighty then. Only 6 games tonight. At 7 o'clock, you have the Rangers against the Bruins. Boston is an enormous favorite, as you would expect, at minus 360. The Rangers, minus 360 is Pittsburgh. Boston minus 220. Rangers plus 184. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 114. Unders minus 106. Rangers plus 1.5 is minus 146. Bruins -1.5 is +122. I'm going to go under 5.5 and -106. I think this is a low-scoring game. So give me the under. Devils Islanders. The Islanders are -280. Devils +230. Over under 5.5. Overs -105. Unders -115. Devils +1.5 is -120. Islanders -1.5 is even money. Islanders gotta play better. They just have to be better, right? But to play it safe, I'm gonna go under 5.5 and -115. Sabres Penguins. The Penguins are -360. Buffalo's +290. Over under 6.5. Overs even money. Unders -122. Buffalo +2.5 is -126. Pittsburgh -2.5 is +105. So the rare 2.5 on the puck line. I'm going to go over 6.5 and even money. I think Pittsburgh's offense is on fire right now, so I'm going to go over 6.5 and even money. Canadians Maple Leafs. Toronto's -198. Montreal's +166. Over under 6.5. Overs +108. Unders -132. Montreal +1.5 is -160. Toronto -1.5 is +132. It's juice, but I'm going to go Maple Leafs in regulation at -125. Blackhawks, Hurricanes, Carolina's -320. Chicago's +260. Over under 6.5. Overs -104. Unders -118. Blackhawks +1.5 is even money. Hurricanes -1.5 is -120. I'm going to go with the juice -120 with the Hurricanes -1.5. And last but not least, 9 o'clock, the Canucks and the Oilers. The Oilers are -275. The Canucks are +225. Over under 6.5. Overs even money. Unders -122. Canucks +1.5 is -115. Edmonton -1.5 is -105. I'm gonna go Edmonton puck line -1.5 and -105. I think that like I said the other day, I think Vancouver's just disinterested. So I'm gonna lay the 1.5 and -105 with the Edmonton Oilers. All right. Now we'll move on to the NBA from last night as we'll go over the results and we'll look ahead to a nice window for tonight. Celtics over the Magic, 132-96. Boston 35-31. Orlando 21-45. Kemba Walker 32 points in his return. Moritz Wagner had 20 for Orlando. Trailblazers over the Cavaliers, 141-105. Portland 37-29. Cleveland 21-45. Damian Lillard 32 points and 9 assists. Kevin Love 18 points. Hawks over the Suns 135-103. The Hawks 37-30. Phoenix 47-19. Clint Capella 18 points and 10 boards. Devin Booker had 30 for Phoenix. Kings over the Pacers 104-93. The Kings are 29-37. Indiana 30-35. Marvin Bagley, 31 points and 12 boards. Domantas Sabonis had 17 with 13 and 8 assists. 76ers over the Rockets, 135-115. Philly 45-21. Houston 16-50. Joel Embiid, 34 points and 12 boards. Kelly Olynyk, 27 points, 11 boards and 8 assists. Bucks over the Wizards, 135-134. What a game. Milwaukee 42-24. Washington 30-36. Drew Holiday, 29 points to lead the Bucks in scoring, and Bradley Beal had 42 to lead Washington. Grizzlies over the Timberwolves, 139-135. Memphis 33-32. Minnesota 20-46. John Morant, 37 points and 10 assists. Anthony Edwards had 42 for Minnesota. Nuggets over the Knicks, 113-97. Big win for Denver. They are 44-22. New York is 37-29. Nikola Jokic had 32 points, 12 boards, and 6 assists. Emmanuel Quickley had 18 to lead New York. Jazz over the Spurs, 126-94. The Jets are 48-18. San Antonio 31-34. Jordan Clarkson had 30 points for Utah. And Lucas Simonik had 15 for San Antonio. All right. Today's games, not many lines are up yet. 7 o'clock, you have the Bulls and the Hornets, and I mean that on ESPN, not on FanDuel. So, my projections for this game are Pick'em in 222. Meanwhile, it is Bulls 2.5. No, totally. I'm taking Charlotte in the 2.5. I know Zach LaVine's back, but I think that Charlotte needs these games. LaMelo's back, so I'm taking Charlotte plus the 2.5. 7:30 TNT, Nets Mavericks. I'm at Dallas 1 total 227.5. Meanwhile, it is Brooklyn by 4. I'm taking Dallas plus the 4 and plus 148 straight up. Wizards Raptors. I'm at Washington 3.5 total 228.5. Meanwhile, it's Toronto 1.5. I'm taking Washington plus 1.5 and plus 102 straight up. 8 o'clock Grizzlies Pistons. I'm at Memphis 13.5 total 222.5. Meanwhile, it's Memphis by 10. I'm laying the 10. Hawks Pacers. I'm at Hawks 7 total 227. Meanwhile, it's Hawks by 5. I'm laying the 5 at Atlanta. Thunder Warriors. I'm at Golden State 17 total 223.5. Meanwhile, it's Golden State 13.5. I'm going to lay the 13.5. And last but not least, 10 o'clock TNT, the Lakers and the Clippers. I'm at Clippers 11.5 total 219. Meanwhile, it's Clippers 7.5. I'm laying the 7.5 with the Clippers. No LeBron. And I think that the Clippers are going to win this by double digits, so I'm going to lay the points with the Clippers. I think I took a couple dogs and a couple favorites. So I'm laying it with 4 favorites, and I am taking 3 dogs, and all 3 of those dogs to win their respective games outright in Charlotte, Dallas, and Washington. Okay, then. Now we will move on to Major League Baseball from yesterday, as we will go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to the games for today. Reds over the White Sox 1-0 in 10 on a walk-off single by Jesse Winker. Since he's 14-15, Chicago 16-13. Getting the win was Lucas Sims. The loss, Liam Hendricks. Rockies over the Giants 6-5. The Rockies 12-19. San Francisco 18-13. John Gray to win. He's 4-2. Logan Webb the loss 1-3. And getting his 3rd save of the season, Daniel Bard. Brendan Crawford and Darren Ruff homered for the Giants. That's it. Orioles over the Mariners 6-0. Baltimore 15-16. Seattle 17-15. John Means to win. He's 4-0. And Yusei Kikuchi lost. He's 1-2. Pat Valleca and Trey Mancini homered in this game. And John Means tossed a no-hitter. The first no-hitter for the Orioles in over 50 years. Cardinals over the Mets 4-1 in 7. Doubleheader game 1. St. Louis 18-12. Mets 11-13. Getting the win was Ryan Helsley. The loss, Marcus Stroman, and Alex Reyes gets his 9th save of the year. Paul Goldschmidt and Paul DeYoung homered for the Cardinals in that game. Marlins over the Diamondbacks 8-0. Miami 13-16. Arizona 15-15. Getting the win for Miami was Jordan Holloway. The loss, Luke Weaver. Adam Duvall was the only player to hit a homer in this game. Yankees over the Astros 6-3. The Yankees are 16-14. Houston 15-15. Jonathan Loaiza got the win, 3-1. Brooks Raley the loss, 0-2. And Aroldis Chapman gets his 7th save of the season. Giancarlo Stanton homered in this game for New York. Braves over the Nationals 5-3. Atlanta 14-16. Washington 12-14. Max Fried the win, 1-1. The loss, Eric Feed 2-3. Will Smith gets the 6th save of the season. Phillies over the Brewers 5-4. The Phillies are 16-15. Milwaukee 17-14. Brandon Kinsler to win. He's 2-1. Freddie Peralta the loss, 3-1. Jose Alvarado, his 2nd save of the season. Didi Gregorius and a pinch hitter, Tyrone Taylor, homered for this game, in this game for the respective teams. And by the way, Didi's homer was a grand slam. Tigers over the Red Sox 6-5 and 10. Detroit 9-22. Boston 18-13. Gregory Soto to win 2-1. Gary Whitlock to loss 0-1. Michael Fulmer gets his 1st save of the year. JD Martinez and Jaime Candelario homered for respective teams. Candelario's was the go-ahead homer in the top of the 10th inning. Cubs over the Dodgers 6-5 and 11 innings on a walk-off single by Anthony Rizzo. The Cubs are 15-16. Dodgers 17-15. Holy crap. The Dodgers have fallen apart. Alec Mills to win 2-0. And getting dinged with the loss here is Garrett Clevenger of the Dodgers. Drops to 0-3. Rangers over the Twins 3-1. The Rangers are 15-17. Minnesota 11-18. John King to win 3-1. Lewis Thorpe lost 0-1. And Ian Kennedy gets his 9th save of the season. Mitch Garver was the only player to homer in this game. Indians over the Royals 5-4. The Indians are 16-13. KC 16-13. Nick Wickren to win 2-1. Wade Davis lost 0-1. And James Karinchak gets his 3rd save of the season. Hunter Dozier, Jose Ramirez, and Josh Naylor homered for their respective teams. Padres over the Pirates 4-2. The Padres are 18-14. Pittsburgh 13-17. Craig Stammen, the Winnies 2-1. Dwayne Underwood Jr. lost. He's 1-1. Mark Melancon gets his 11th save of the year. Victor Caratini and Brian Reynolds homered for their respective teams. Mets over the Cardinals 7-2 in game number 2 of the doubleheader. Mets 12-13. St. Louis 18-13. Jordan Yamamoto, the Winnies 1-0, and Johan Oviedo, the loss 0-1. The wins, Thomas Need, or the homers, not the wins. The homers, Thomas Nido, Jonathan Villar for the Mets, that's it. Rays over the Angels 3-1. The Rays are 17-15, LA 13-16. Ryan Yarbrough to win is 2-3. Junior Guerrero lost 2-1, and getting the save was Jeffrey Springs. Brandon Lau hit the go-ahead home run in the top of the 7th inning. Blue Jays over the A's 9-4. I did say Blue Jays and over. Toronto 15-14, Oakland 19-13. Getting the win was Jordan Romano. He's 3-1, and Lou Trevino the loss 1-1. Ramon Laureano, Matt Chapman were the only players to homer in this game. All right. The games for today, 1 o'clock, you have the Astros and the Yankees. Garrett Cole against Lance McCullers Jr. Yankees going for the sweep. And that would be the best series win they've had all season. In what I think has been their biggest series of the season to this date because of the circumstances with the Astros from a year ago with the cheating scandal. Yankees minus 210, Houston's plus 176, over under 8, minus 110 each way. Astros plus 1.5 is minus 126. Yankees minus 1.5 is plus 105. I gotta go Yankees again. Run line. This has been my pick the first 2 times. I think they're gonna win by multiple runs again. Garrett Cole's on the mound. He's gonna be fabulous. So I'm gonna go Yankees minus 1.5 at plus 105. Next up, Brewers Phillies. Brandon Woodruff and Zach Wheeler. Brewers are minus 120. Phillies are plus 102. Over under 7. Overs minus 128. Unders plus 104. Brewers minus 1.5 is plus 160. Phillies plus 1.5 is minus 194. And now the line's evened out a little bit. I'm going over 7 at minus 108. Now the unders minus 112 at 7. Tigers, Red Sox. Spencer Turnbull and Nady Eovaldi. Red Sox minus 215. Tigers plus 180. Over under 8.5. It is minus 110 each way. Red Sox minus 1.5 is minus 102. Detroit plus 1.5 is minus 118. I think this is a bounce back spot for the Red Sox, so I'm going to go minus 1.5 and minus 102. Rangers Twins. Jordan Lyles and Michael Pineda. The Rangers going for the sweep. The Twins are minus 205. The Rangers are plus 172. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 115. Unders minus 105. Rangers plus 1.5 is minus 118. Twins minus 1.5 is minus 102. I'm going to go with over 8.5 and minus 115, even though it is juiced. 115, the Mets and the Cardinals. Tyjon Walker and John Gant. The Mets are minus 120. The Cardinals are plus 102. Over under 7.5. Overs minus 114. Unders minus 106. Mets minus 1.5 is plus 146. Cardinals plus 1.5 is minus 178. I'm going to go Cardinals as the dog here, plus 102 at home. They like playing at Busch Stadium last night, with the exception. So I'm going to go plus 102 with the Cardinals over the Mets. 2 o'clock, you have the Indians and the Royals. Tristan McKenzie and Danny Duffy. The Royals are minus 134. The Indians are plus 114. Over under 8. Overs minus 112. Unders minus 108. Indians plus 1.5 is minus 184. Royals minus 1.5 is plus 152. I'm going to go over 8 at -112. I like the Indians as well. I like Tristan McKenzie, who just hasn't put it together yet. And I think Duffy's due for some regression, so I'm going to go over 8 at -112. 3:30, the Blue Jays and the Athletics. Hyunjin Ryu and Mike Fiers. The Blue Jays are -134. The A's are +114. Over under 8.5. Over is -104. Under is -118. Blue Jays -1.5 is +126. A's +1.5 is -152. Tough one. For sure. I'm going to take the A's as a home dog. I think Ryu is due for a bad game. And I think Oakland bounces back here at the win. 4 o'clock, the Braves and the Nationals. Drew Smyly and John Lester. John Lester making his second start of the season. The Braves are -112. The Nats are -104. Over under 9. Over is -118. Under is -104. Braves -1 is +146. Nats +1 is -178. I'm going to go with the Nats, -104. I like John Lester. I think that Lester will pitch well. I'm not the biggest Drew Smyly fan, and he's been terrible this year. So I'm going Nats -104 at home against the Braves. 6:40, you have the Diamondbacks and the Marlins. Madison Bumgarner and Pablo Lopez. The Marlins -138. The Diamondbacks are +118. Over under 7.5. Over is +102. Under is -124. Diamondbacks +1.5 is -192. Marlins -1.5 is +158. I'm going to go over 7.5 and +102. That's just crazy. I think that Bumgarner's going to get smacked around. I think that the D-backs can hit a little bit, especially off the Marlins bullpen, although that's been better of late. So I'm going to go over 7.5 and +102. And, of course, I think that the Marlins will hit off the D-backs bullpen. And 9:30, the Rays and the Angels. Josh Fleming and Andrew Heaney. No lines up for this game yet. But if the total is anything 8 or lower, I'll take the over in the game. Alrighty, now I'm going to move on to the Wells Fargo Championship, and I'm going to make my pick. We don't really have a leaderboard yet, so I'm not going to go over it. So I'm just going to go to FanDuel and make a pick here. I'm going to go through odds as well. And these are live odds, too. Justin Thomas is a 9-1 favorite. Bryson DeChambeau's 10-1. John Rahm and Victor Hovland 12-1 each. Rory is 14-1. Xander Schauffele 16-1. Will Zalatoris is 22-1. Patrick Cantlay, Patrick Reed, and Tony Finau are each 27-1. Corey Connors 9-1. Joaquin Niemann 31-1. Abraham Ancer, Brian Harmon, Shane Lowry, Sungjae Im each 41-1. Jason Day, Keegan Bradley, Tommy Fleetwood 50-1. Ricky Fowler's 55, Bubba Watson 65, as well as Cam Triangle, Emiliano Grillo, Harold Varner III, Harry English, Lucas Glover, Matt Wallace, Max Homa, Russell Henley, Stuart King, 80-1. Joel Dahman, Kevin Stroman, Matt Jones, Maverick McNeely. Now I'm just going to go through notables. 100-1, Taylor Gooch, Sebastian Munoz, Gary Woodland. 120-1, Charles Schwartzel, Eric Van Rooyen, Ian Poulter, Luke List, Matt Neesmith, Michael Thompson, Russell Knox, Adam Hadwin, JT Potson, each 150-1, as well as Mackenzie Hughes and Phil Mickelson, and Zach Johnson. Adam Long, Adam Schenk, Dr. Redmond, Harry Higgs, Lucas Hubert, Pat Perez, Richie Wierenski, Scott Stallings, Rory Savantini, Vaughn Taylor, each 210-1. 270-1, Andrew Putnam, C.T. Ponches, Ravi Danny Lee, Henrik Norlander, Patrick Rogers. 320-1, Bo Van Pelt, Bryce Garnett, Cam Percy, J.B. Holmes, Mark Hubbard. And that's really it among the notables. In terms of a pick, I'm going to hop on live. It was a better number earlier, but I still think this is nice. I'm going to go with Victor Hovland at 12-1 for my pick for the Wells Fargo Championship. Ooh! But yeah, I'm going to go with Victor Hovland at 12-1 for my pick to win the Wells Fargo Championship. Alrighty, now I'm going to go over the latest news and notes, and I'm going to start with big news made by the New York Rangers yesterday. I'm going to have Derek on potentially tonight to talk about this because it came so out of nowhere. They had fired President John Davidson and GM Jeff Gorton. This has nothing to do with the Tom Wilson stuff from the other day. But as one executive said, holy shit. And that was my thought as well. There's a lot of mistakes that Davidson and Gorton did, which cost them their jobs. You knew there was going to be a fall guy this year because they didn't make the postseason. I thought it was going to be head coach David Quinn. I think he'll be next. Derek and I had a huge disagreement all year long. Derek did not think that the Rangers were going to make changes. And it caught him by surprise. It caught me by surprise because it was the general manager and the president to go. And replacing them at the time is Chris Drury, who is now the GM and the president of hockey operations. I thought that Chris Drury was going to be the future GM of the New York Rangers once they would not let him go to Pittsburgh to take over for Jim Rutherford. I like Chris Drury. I think he's been great behind the scenes with some of the players, and he knows the organization well. He's in the MSG family. I think he's very deserving of this job. We're going to go over the mistakes that the previous regime made with Derek later on. And obviously the fans on Twitter were very upset after the firings. Although I understand why they did it. I'm not upset at all. I'm not happy. I can't say I'm happy because these gentlemen, you never root for somebody to lose their job. But regardless of who's running this show, whether it's them or Chris Drury, I think the team's heading in the right direction long term for sure. And speaking of the Rangers, opening line brawl, 2 puck drops, 4 fights, as them and the Capitals got into it right after the opening draw. Then Tom Wilson fought 1 minute later. That was bound to happen. Good job by the Rangers for having some response. And they really showed them how they felt about the situation that happened with Tom Wilson. Obviously, I don't have much time today, but we're going to cover it with Derek later tonight. Dusty Baker came out and said that the Yankees fans were hard on Altuve, as obviously the Yankee fans were chanting explosive chants at Jose Altuve. And let's face it, deservedly so, because they cheated. They cheated. Need I say less? And he stole the MVP from Judge because they cheated, and he hit the game-winning home run off of Chapman with the buzzer. We all know. And he deserved those chances. The Green Bay Packers are mad at other teams because they contacted Aaron Rodgers about playing for them. And that is obviously the 49ers and the Broncos. Rodgers was mocked in group text as People were calling him Jerry Krause from the MJ era Bulls in team group chats. Oh, Rogers mocked somebody with that. Rogers wasn't mocked. But yeah, Brian Gutekunst, the general manager, as he called him, Jerry Krause. So that's interesting. Zach LaVine's coming back today. We talked about that. Jeremy Grant will be back on Saturday for the Pistons. And I forgot to do that in my projection. So obviously Philly, I project by 16 now. Brandon Ingram has an ankle sprain and he will be day-to-day. And will miss Friday's game at the 76ers. A couple NBA coaching notes. The Portland Trailblazers are expected to fire Terry Stotts, barring a playoff run. And Milwaukee's Mike Budenholzer is on the hot seat. So that could be two potential big-time NBA coaching jobs open this summer. Ex-Steelers offensive lineman Alejandro Villanueva took shades at Juju Smith-Schuster and sounding like he isn't worried about his Ravens teammates making TikToks in their spare time. So obviously he's taking a shot at Juju Smith-Schuster. The NFL sent out a memo on injured players as the league says teams not obligated to continue paying salary for the year in which a player got hurt working out on his own. So that's very interesting. We talked about the John Means no-hitter, as it was the first one in 30 years. I thought it was 50 years. So, what a moment for John Means. Paul Goldschmidt hit a sign when hitting a home run, and he knocked a letter out, so that's funny. There were sleeping fans at the Pirates-Padres game as two guys were knocked out for several innings at the game. That's funny. And Shohei Ohtani catches a rocket as the Angels star bobbles the line drive, then apologizes to the batter after making the incredible play. Aw. The New York Knicks land EuroLeague guard Luka Vildoza on a 4-year, $13.6 million deal with the Knicks, one of the top playmaking guards in Europe, as they say. So we'll see. They need some help at the guard position. There's talk that he might play for them this season, which is crazy. He just has to go through COVID protocols. But he will probably come off the bench. And if not, maybe he could be like a bench guy this year. Maybe he replaces Alfred Payton in the starting lineup for this year. And go out and make the big move for a point guard in the summer, like Lonzo Ball or something like that. Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets each were fined $35,000 for violating league's media access rules. Ja Morant says he's a top 5 point guard, as he gives himself an honest answer after Shaq asked him to rank himself. So that's interesting. Anthony Rendon goes to the injured list with left knee contusion, and Joey Votto is out for a month with a fractured thumb. Anze Kopitar hit a milestone last night with 1,000 points and becomes the 8th active player to reach the 1,000 point milestone. Obviously, Sidney Crosby's one. Jonathan Taves, I don't know if Patrick Kane's one of them. Malkin, Kopitar. Maybe Bergeron. McDavid's not there yet. That'd be crazy. Ovechkin, obviously, is a good one. So definitely Ovechkin, Crosby, Malkin, Kane, Taves, Kopitar, Bergeron. That's 7 I can think of right off the top of my head. I have to think of who the 8th is. So maybe I'll look that up for you guys for tomorrow's show. Shane Gostisbehere suspended 2 games for the boarding call against Pittsburgh's Mark Friedman during an empty netter. Well, and somehow Tom Wilson's yet to be suspended. My goodness. All right, that's it for the news and notes for today. Now I'll recap last night's episode of The Masked Singer. It was the Spicy Six, as they called it. Interesting show, to say the least. The Yeti went first. By the way, the guest panelist was Chrissy Metz. So the Yeti hits about being a father. There's a panda in the glue package, ice cream. There's somebody cutting a rug and coffee. And this time during the clue packages, they had the contestants unmask, but they had their visors over their head, so obviously you couldn't tell who they were. Yeti performed It Takes Two by Rob Baez. Solid performance. And their special clue of the week was the Mind Reader. And it was corn, and it popped in mine. I'm still going to stick with my Drake guess here. Ken Jeong said Jason Derulo. And Chrissy said Trey Songz and Miguel. Robo Pine went next. There were food stamps, carnival books, butter and breakfast. And he performed Water Runs Dry by Boyz II Men. That would be very ironic because there's a chance that the Russian Dolls is Boyz II Men. So it's kind of ironic there. The Mind Reader was a light bulb. I went with Stevie Wonder. Jenny said Usher. Nicole Scherzinger said Tyrese Gibson. And Chrissy said Tyrese as well. Piglet went next. There's teeth. Like as in vampire teeth. A Chair with Numbers, Gold Bars, and he performed Against All Odds by Phil Collins. And the Mind Reader, there was no Mind Reader. In comes Cloodle-Doo, and he said that he's been watching him since he caught touchdowns from Dan Marino. Like, what? Touchdowns from Dan Marino? Is this a former Dolphins wide receiver? Is this somebody that Dan Marino threw a pick 6 to? I'm still sticking with AJ McLean. Nicole went with Brian Luttrell and Nick Lachey. And Ken Jeong went with Christian Leitner. Black Swan went next. There's a nickel and a dime. Said that they were criticized and hated. There was a pan there, an eagle. Oh no, I'm sorry. This wasn't the Black Swan. This is Russian Dolls. The Russian Dolls went after Black Swan. I'm just going to do Russian Dolls. I just went over their clue package. And then, again, Russian Dolls, nickel and the dime that they were criticized and hated. There's an eagle. There's a pan. They performed Shallow by Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. It was just 2 of the Russian Dolls. And the Mind Reader had a kangaroo. Maybe there's ties to Jordan Woods, potentially. I'm still sticking with the Black Eyed Peas here. Jenny and Robin said the Hansons, and Ken Jeong went with Avril Lavigne and Chad Kroeger, which I highly doubt. That'd be weird. Black Swan went before the Russian Dolls. I'll just go through her clue package real quick. Umbrella Lights, a photo. New Hampshire, that's interesting. This is somebody from New Hampshire. And then there's a Swan Kissed Soda. And this person performed Do I Do by Stevie Wonder. And then I'm thinking to myself, ooh, Robopine song. Because of who my Robopine guess is, or was. You'll find out later who got unmasked. But that was my guess for Robopine. So I thought the irony was there. I didn't really love this performance, but I liked the song. It was interesting. It was different from Black Swan. And the mind reader was Mariah Carey. To me, it's either Emily Osment or JoJo. And the Mariah Carey hint was because she broke a record of Mariah Carey's. I'm trying to think if JoJo ever broke a record of Mariah Carey's. I think it sounds like Emily Osment, but I'm very undecided on Black Swan. Robin went with Kesha, but I know Kesha's voice. I don't think that's Kesha. Chrissy went with Christina Milian, which was a good guess. She sang that song AM to PM. And a couple others, but AM to PM was one that I just know. And then Ken Jeong had a good guess of Mandy Moore. Russian Dolls went after Black Swan, but we went over them already. Chameleon went last. There's a Lemonade, said he was a military kid. Brownies for sale, but the S in sale was a $. There's a plane, there's a captain, there's a number 3, and a dragon. And he performed Put Your Hands Where I Can See by Busta Rhymes. The mind reader was a sneaker. And I'm torn between Ludacris or Wiz Khalifa. I was convinced that it was Ludacris for a while because of the Georgia hint and when he performed Hip Hop by Dead Prez, I was thinking, man, this is Luda. I was thinking Luda. And you couldn't get that out of my head. And when he performed Ride With Me, it sounded like Luda a little bit. And 21 Questions was okay, but I didn't think that it was Luda. But to me, it's either Luda or Wiz, and I'm going to stick with Luda. And who went home? Robopine. Unfortunately, it was just sad to see him go. My first impression guess for Robopine was Usher. My final guess was Stevie Wonder. Nicole's first impression guess, as well as Ken's and Jenny's, was Jamie Foxx. Nicole's final is Tyrese Gibson. Jenny stuck with Jamie. And Ken Jeong went with Leslie Odom Jr. Robin's first impression guess was Gen 1. His final guess was Terrence Howard. Chrissy went with Tyrese Gibson. And who was it? Chrissy, Matt, and Nicole were correct. Tyrese Gibson. Good get for the Masked Singer. I like Tyrese Gibson. I think he did a solid job on this show. But it's just unfortunate because I thought that somebody else should have went home. I thought he should have still been there. And I mean, it's cool because he hasn't been around in a minute. So it was nice to see him on the show, but he should have still stuck around, to be quite honest. Alrighty, so there you have it for the Masked Singer recap for last night's episode. And now I'll do my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. There's a couple of these that stand out to me. But my best bet today will go in the sport of Major League Baseball. And I'm going to stick with my Nationals pick. I'm going to do 5 units on the Washington Nationals, -110, with John Lester on the mound against Drew Smyly, who's been terrible this season, as they will host the Atlanta Braves. So 5 units on the Washington Nationals tonight or this afternoon against the Braves. All right, so that's it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping NHL, NBA, and MLB from today and looking ahead to tomorrow and the weekend's games. We'll preview the top 7 episode for American Idol. We'll go over the leaderboard for the Wells Fargo Championship and NASCAR picks for you as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.